I never thought I'd kill a man with kindness until the day I woke up as him. My husband, Derek, had always been the golden boy, Wall Street shark, TED Talk darling, the guy who could charm a jury out of a death sentence. But that morning, staring into the mirror at his smug reflection, my new face, I realized kindness was just another weapon, and I was done playing victim. It started 6 months ago, back when life in Seattle still felt like a rom-com montage. Rain-slicked streets, overpriced lattes from that hole-in-the-wall on Capitol Hill, and Derek's arm around my waist at those insufferable tech galas where he'd schmooze venture capitalists like they were old frat buddies. I was Peyton Hale, the quiet force behind his empire. While he posed for Forbes covers, I crunched the numbers for Hale Tech, our little AI startup that ballooned into a beast after he pivoted it toward predictive analytics for law enforcement. Body cams, facial rec, tools to keep the streets safe, he'd say, with that boyish grin that made investors open their checkbooks. But I knew the underbelly, the algorithms that flagged brown skin faster than white, the backroom deals with cops who'd look the other way for a demo unit. We'd built it together, or so I thought. College sweethearts from UW. Married 10 years. No kids because Derek said we were too ambitious for diapers. Our house in Queen and was our castle, Victorian bones with smart home guts. The kind of place that screamed, "We made it," to anyone scrolling Zillow. I handled the ops, he handled the flash. Until the flash turned to fraud. It was a Tuesday in July. The kind where the Puget Sound fog clings like regret. Derek burst through the door at 2 a.m. Ty Askew, eyes wilder than after a Red Bull bender. "Peyton, baby, we gotta talk." He collapsed onto the leather sectional, the one I'd haggled for at that estate sale in Ballard, and spilled it. Hale Tech's latest contract, a fat one with the Seattle PD, was built on smoke. I'd greenlit the code tweaks months back, optimizing for efficiency, he called it, but he'd gone rogue, feeding proprietary data to a shady offshore server. Embezzlement. Straight up. Millions siphoned to fund his side hustle, a black market AI for dodging sanctions, sold to the highest bidder in Eastern Europe. "Why me?" I whispered, my stomach twisting like I'd chugged bad IPA. Because I was the fall guy. Apparently. My digital fingerprints were all over the commits. He'd framed the logs to make it look like I'd been the one skimming. It's insurance. Pay. If shit hits the fan, they go after the quiet one. Not the face. His logic was ice cold. Pure Silicon Valley sociopathy, expendable assets, plausible deniability. I could go down for wire fraud. 15 years in federal lockup, while he played the shocked spouse on Dateline. I didn't sleep that night. By dawn, I confronted him in the kitchen, our granite island between us like a no-man's land. "Fix it, Derek, or I walk." He laughed, actually laughed, pouring himself a pour-over from the Chemex I'd bought on our anniversary trip to Portland. "Walk where? Peyton, you think VCs want a whistleblower? You're in this." That's when he dropped the bomb, the experimental neural swap. Some bleeding-edge neurotech from a Hale Tech prototype, meant for witness protection, uploading consciousness, body hopping like in those crappy sci-fi flicks. He'd tested it on lab rats, then on himself during a solo retreat in the Cascades. "It's reversible, babe. Just a week tops. You take the heat in my skin, plead out. Community service maybe, and I'll pull strings to bury it. Then swap back. And we're golden."
Unnskyld ved veran.
Called my mom in Tacoma, that tough-as-nails ex-nurse who'd raised me solo after dad bailed for a Vegas showgirl. But Derek's eyes, Those piercing blues I'd fallen for at a Husky's tailgate held me. "Trust me," he said. And God help me.
I did.
One needle prick in his home office, surrounded by servers humming like judgmental ghosts, and the world dissolved into static. Waking up was violation incarnate. His body taller, heavier, reeking of that cedar cologne I used to love, sprawled on our bed, sheets tangled like evidence at a crime scene. I lurched to the bathroom mirror, gagging at the stubble shadowing his jaw, the faint scar from that dirt bike crash in college. His hands, trembled as I touched the glass. "What the fuck, Derek?" My voice boomed back, baritone and unfamiliar, laced with that East Coast clip he'd never shaken from his Princeton days. Downstairs, the foreclosure notice waited like a gut punch, taped to the fridge. Official seal from Wells Fargo glaring under the undercabinet lights. "Effective immediately," it read. Our house, our life, gone because he'd drained the equity line to cover his tracks. I crumpled it, knuckles whitening, and that's when the rage ignited. Not hot and flashy, but cold, methodical, the kind that simmers in dive bars where truckers nurse grudges over PBRs. He'd left a note, "How to sell to keep the wolves off. Crash with your mom. I'll handle the rest. Love."
Love.
The word tasted like battery acid. I packed a duffel, his clothes, ill-fitting on this borrowed frame, and drove the Tesla he'd leased under my name to Tacoma. Mom's bungalow in North End was a time capsule, faded Seahawks banners from the 12 Super Bowl, her Bible verses framed next to photos of me in pigtails. She opened the door in her robe, squinting at me. "Derek, what the hell are you doing here at 6 a.m.? I froze. "How do you explain you've been body snatched by your own husband without sounding like you'd mainlined meth?"
Peyton sent me. I lied.
Voice cracking like a teenager's. "Trouble at home.
Can I stay?"
Her eyes narrowed, those hawkish greens that saw through my teenage shoplifting phase, but she stepped aside. "Get in before the neighbors gossip."
Inside.
Overweek Folgers and her famous cinnamon toast. I spun a yarn, marital spat, money woes, Peyton meeting space. She bought it, mostly, clucking about men and their egos while folding laundry that smelled like gain and regret. Days blurred into a haze of deception. I job hunted under his name, LinkedIn flooded with pity DMs from his bro network, while scanning news feeds for hail tech fallout. Nothing.
Zilch.
Just puff pieces on Derek Hale's innovative disruption. Then, channel surfing Mom's ancient Roku one rainy Thursday. I saw him. Channel 5. Evening News, Derek in my body. My soft curves draped in a power suit that screamed imposter, beaming from a podium at the Seattle Convention Center. Hail Tech, pioneering justice in the AI age, the cheer in red. Flashes popped as he shook hands with the mayor. My smile plastered on his face. My voice pitching ethics like a pro. My blood turned to diesel. He'd swapped us permanent, or as permanent as that glitchy tech allowed, taken my shell and paraded it like a trophy. The foreclosure? A smokescreen to force me out. Make me vanish into obscurity while he ascended. I gripped the remote, knuckles popping, as the segment cut to analysts gushing. Peyton Hale's vision is revolutionizing public safety. Vision. My code. My late nights debugging while he golfed with senators. That night, in the guest room with its lumpy futon and cross-stitched, "Home is where the heart is," I plotted. Revenge wasn't a sprint. It was a marathon through America's underbelly, where grudges fester in foreclosed McMansions and tech bros hide sins in encrypted drives. First, access. Derek's phone, left in the Tesla glove box like forgotten change, unlocked with his birthday. Emails flooded in, shell companies in the Caymans, payoffs to a crooked auditor named Vic Russo. The secret he'd buried? Not just the embezzlement. 10 years back, during our bootstrap phase, I'd covered for him on a hit and run. Drunk after a launch party, he'd plowed into a cyclist on I-5, a kid, barely 20, undocumented. No witnesses but me riding shotgun. I drove us home, swapped plates overnight, lied to the cops. Wrong place, wrong time, the report said. But I'd carried that ghost. Therapy bills stacking like unpaid utilities, while he climbed.
Now,
In his skin, I'd exhume it. Step 1. Infiltrate. I drove back to Seattle under cover of rush hour gridlock, the space needle mocking me from afar like a middle finger. Hailtech's campus in South Lake Union was fortress chic, glass walls etched with binary code. Free kombucha on tap. Security buzzed me in, facial rec pinged, Derek Hale, CEO, and I slunk to his office, heart hammering like a jackhammer on asphalt. The space screamed alpha, mahogany desk, Warhol print of a pixelated Uncle Sam, a mini fridge stocked with LaCroix. I jacked into his terminal, fingers flying over keys that felt like alien appendages. Backups decrypted, the swap logs, timestamps from that fateful night. He'd dosed me with a neural paralytic, uploaded my consciousness while I blacked out. Reversible? Bullshit. The failsafe required his biometric, now mine, and a secondary key hidden in a Cayman vault. But deeper, correspondence with Russo, the auditor. Derek hadn't just framed me, he'd sold Hailtech's dirty data to feds, tipping off ICE raids for profit. My algorithms, weaponized against the vulnerable, the same folks I'd coded to protect. A ping, calendar invite. Dinner with Mayor, 8 p.m., the Metropolitan.
perfect.
I forwarded it to myself, then planted seeds, anonymous tips to a PI I'd Googled. Ex-FBI with a grudge against tech overlords. By midnight, I was back in Tacoma, Mom snoring down the hall, drafting emails from a burner, leaks to the stranger. That alt weekly that loved skewering Seattle's elite. Week 2. Escalation. Derek, wearing me like a cheap suit, went viral. TEDx talk on empathy in AI, my face emoting sincerity as he monologued about human-centered design. Comments exploded. Peyton Hale is goals. Queen of tech. I retched into the sink. Then hit reply all on his board emails. Subtle sabotage, flagging concerns about compliance. CCing the SEC. Controversial? Hell yes. Was I doxing my own life? In a way. But betrayal's a two-way street, and I'd been U-turned. Mom noticed the cracks. You look like hell, Derek, she'd say, sliding plates of pot roast across her Formica table. I'd mumble excuses, stress, deadlines, while scrolling dark web forums for neural swap antidotes. Whispers of a rogue neuroscientist in Portland, ex-Hailtech, peddling reversals for crypto. Risky. But America's underbelly thrives on risk. Meth labs in abandoned Walmarts. Revenge porn rings in basements. I wired BTC from Derek's slush fund. Met the doc in a dive off Burnside, tattooed skull. Eyes like black holes. Can't fully swap back, he rasped over IPAs. But I can glitch it, make you dominant. Him the echo. Cost, $50K, and a favor. The favor? Sabotage our rival's trial data. Moral quicksand, but I'd already drowned. Injection in a motel room smelling of mildew and despair. And suddenly, flickers, my old reflexes bleeding through, his voice in my head like a bad earworm. Peyton? What the? Shut up, I thought. Your turn to haunt. By month 3, the house of cards teetered. Foreclosure finalized. Our queen and gem auctioned to some flipper from Bellevue. I bid anonymously, Derek's Amex. Maxed, snatched it back for pennies on the dollar. Mom's eyes widened when I drove up with keys. Surprise, I said, herding her into the foyer that still echoed with ghosts of us. Peyton's. Coming around. She hugged him, tight, whispering prayers for reconciliation. Guilt gnawed, but rage was sharper. Derek's empire cracked next. Stranger expose dropped. Hail Tekka's hidden hand in raids. Peyton Hale's complicity. Leaks eyed Fed. Twisted just enough to implicate her. Stock plummeted 40%. Board ousted me in emergency session. I watched from the wings, posing as concerned advisor, vetoing his defense. Controversial decision 1. I greenlit a whistleblower payout to the cyclist's family. Anonymous wire from Hail Tech coffers. 10 years late. But justice don't punch clocks. Climax brewed at the mayor's gala. Space needle spinning like a drunk on its axis. Derek, in my body. Botox smooth, schmoozed the crowd. Flute of Veuve in hand. I cornered him in the ladies' lounge, irony thick as Seattle smog, his eyes mine, widening in recognition. Peyton? How? Neural echo. Asshole. I growled, his own timbre mocking him. You thought you'd ghost me? I own this shell now. Revelations tumbled, the hit-and-run logs I'd surfaced. ICE payoffs digitized for prosecutors. He lunged, my slim hands clawing at his throat, but I was stronger. His frame a battering ram. Security burst in. I played victim. Tears streaming down his cheeks. She's lost it, meds. Stress. Cops hauled me, away in zip ties. Headlines screaming, tech heiress cracks under pressure. Bail hearing. I testified. Derek's charm weaponized against her. It's the swap. Your honor, experimental. Confidential. Judge balked, sci-fi in court, but whispers of mistrial. Psych eval. Controversial decision, too. I pulled strings with Russo. Now my reluctant ally blackmails a hell of a motivator. To spike her meds with hallucinogens. Peyton ranted in holding about body thieves. Sounding like a QAnon fever dream. Twist hit like a fairy horn, mid-trial. The Cayman key surfaced, not hidden, but tattooed under my scalp. Mom found it during a routine shave for stress migraines, her nurse hands steady as she decoded the ink with a magnifier. This ain't right. Derek. Confrontation in the hospital room. Monitors beeping like accusations. The swap was for you.
Pay.
Cancer, terminal. In me. Docs said 6 months. I wanted you to live it. Take the company. The life. Foreclosure? To force distance. Make it clean.
Lies.
Partial truths. Maybe. The hit-and-run guilt eating him. The fraud a desperate grab for cure money. But the raids?
Power.
Always power. I activated the key anyway. Neural storm raging as we flickered, me back in my skin, him a fading echo in the mirror. He gasped, body convulsing. Forgive.
No.
Controversial decision 3. I let the glitch finish him. Accident, the coroner ruled. Neural overload. Hail Tech? I sold it to ethical buyers. Proceeds to immigrant aid. Mom got the house. Her eyes knowing but silent. Happy ending? For who? I stare at my reflection now, me again. But hollow, and wonder if revenge rebuilt or just rearranged the ruins. America's full of Paytons, trading skins for survival. Who's the monster? Asked the mirror. The echo lingered, a whisper in my skull like tinnitus after a rock concert. Derek's voice, faint and fractured. You could have saved me. Saved him? From the grave he dug? I slammed the bathroom cabinet. The one with its chipped porcelain sink that Mom insisted on keeping for character, and splashed water on my face. Finally. Pores like I'd remembered. Faint laugh lines from forcing smiles at PDA meetings we never attended. But the eyes? Haunted. Gunmetal gray. Staring back accusations. Funeral was a circus. Seattle style. Overcast skies threatening rain like God's own passive-aggressive eulogy. Flock of tech vultures in black hoodies circling the gravesite in Lake View Cemetery. I stood at the podium in a simple sheath from Nordstrom rack, nothing flashy. Let the widows wear that, delivering the obit with the poise of someone who'd rehearsed it in hell. Derek Hale was a visionary, flawed as we all are. He chased the future, sometimes at the cost of the present. Murmurs rippled, investors shifting in Italian loafers, reporters tapping iPhones for quotes. Mom squeezed my hand, her grip iron from years of bedpans and betrayals. Proud of you, kiddo, she murmured. Proud? For burying the bastard who buried me? Aftermath was paperwork Armageddon, probate lawyers in pinstripes, IRS audits smelling blood. Hailteka's carcass fetched $80 million at fire sale, enough to fund a foundation. Hale Equity Initiative, retooling AI for community watch. Not cop cams. I hired Vic Russo as consultant, ironic. The fox in the henhouse, his weasel face grinning over Zoom from a Reno strip mall office. You drive a hard bargain. Mrs. Hale. Widow now. The word chafed like wool socks in July. But peace? Elusive as a sunny day in the Emerald City. Nights. I jolt awake in the Queen and Master, our old bed. His side untouched, convinced I felt the swap's phantom itch. Like a limb severed but screaming. Therapy helped.
Sorta, Dr.
Lena Vasquez.
Sharp as a switchblade.
With her office overlooking Elliott Bay and a no bullshit vibe honed in Oakland's trenches. Revenge is a drug. Payton. High's over. What's the crash feel like? Guilt. Mostly. The cyclist's family, Maria and little Sophia, now 10, eyes wide over tamales at our first meet, thanked me with hugs that bruised. He didn't suffer, I lied. Because the truth, Derek's last rasp, begging in my head, would have shattered them. Controversy brewed online, as it does in America's outrage machine. Payton Gate trended, trolls dissecting the trial clips, body swap witch hunt, memes with my mugshot photoshopped onto sci-fi vixens. Fox News called it tech's dark secret, painting me the grieving genius. MSNBC flipped it to corporate cannibalism, me the cutthroat survivor. I ignored it, mostly, until the documentary pitch from Netflix, swapped a Silicon Valley scandal, declined. Some scars don't need spotlights. Instead, I dove into the foundation. Office in a co-working space off Pike Place, fishmongers hollering below like a Greek chorus. Hired a team, ex-cons turned coders, activists with mohawks and MBAs. We open-sourced the clean code, partnered with ACLU for bias audits. Impact? Incremental, a pilot in Rainier Valley cutting false positives by 30%. Mom's texting thanks for safer blocks. But power's addictive. Derek's ghost whispered temptations. You could run it all again. Bigger. Bolder. Month 6 post-swap. The real twist uncoiled, not a plot device, but a person. Elena Vasquez, no relation to the doc. Thank God, a journalist with The Intercept. Olive skin and eyes like espresso shots. Slid into my DMs. Peyton. Off record. Derek wasn't solo in the fraud. There's a network. Coffee at Le Panier. Croissants flaking like old paint. She laid it out. Not just Russo, but a cabal, senators,
CEOs.
a ghost in the machine called the Consortium. They'd funded Hail Tekka's dirty pivot, used it to game elections, rig bids. Derek? A pawn. Ambitious but expendable. The hidden run? Initiation rite. Prove loyalty by covering sins. Why tell me? I asked. Steam rising from my Americano like interrogative smoke. Elena leaned in, voice low over the tourist chatter. Because you're the glitch. The one who bit back. Help us expose it. Anonymous source. Full deniability. Temptation coiled. Serpent slick. Controversial decision 4. Say yes. And I'd torch Rome. No. And sleep knowing I'd half-ass the revenge. I nodded, heart thudding like bass at a grunge revival.
In.
Operation unfolded in shadows, encrypted signal chats, dead drops in REI backpacks at Gasworks Park. Elena's team doxed, ethically. She swore, tracing Cayman wires to a Wyoming ranch owned by Senator Harlan Graves. That's Silver Fox Hawk from Idaho with his America First bluster. Graves, the puppet master. Derek's golf buddy, who'd greenlit the ICE payoffs for border wall kickbacks. My role?
Bait.
I reactivated Derek's old profiles, Ghost in the Shell, leaking insider docs, to bait the trap. Stakes ratcheted at a fundraiser in Bellevue. Sprawling McMansion on Lake Washington with valets in cummerbunds and air thick with cigar haze. I crashed as consultant, sheath dress hugging curves still foreign post-swap. Mom's pearl necklace for armor. Graves cornered me by the charcuterie spread, prosciutto like flayed secrets, his grip on my elbow vice-tight. Heard you sold the company. Sweetheart. Smart. Widows should stick to bake sales. Drawl dripped venom. Eyes scanning me like contraband. Or exposing them, I replied, voice steady as Pike Street Bridge. His laugh boomed, drawing glances from Botox spouses. Derek was a fool, thought he could play big leagues. You? Stay small. Warning or invite. Elena's wire caught the follow-up. Late-night call to Russo. Handle the hail, bitch. Quiet. Handle. Echoes of the cyclist. Tires screeching on wet asphalt. I didn't wait. Controversial decision 5. Preemptive strike. Hacked Graves' smart home. Derek's back doors still live, blasting his nudes, kinky. With a pool boy to every donor's inbox mid-gala. Chaos erupted, phones buzzing like hornets, wives gasping over caviar. Graves flashed puse, lunging for a server. But feds, tipped by Elena, swarmed like ants at a picnic. Senator Harlan Graves. You're under arrest for racketeering. Fallout? Biblical. Consortium unraveled, indictments raining like Seattle's November deluge. Headlines screaming, tech-tied corruption ring busted. I vanished into witness protection light, new ID. Peyton Reyes now. Cabin in the Olympics with pines whispering absolution. Mom visited, lugging Tupperware of chili verde, her Bible thumping on the pine table. You did good. Mija. But God's got the final say. Did I? Derek's echo silenced weeks back, but doubts lingered. Had I avenged? Or just ascended his throne? Endings debatable. As Elena said over our last beer in a Portland brewpub, rain pattering the awning like hesitant applause. Heroes or villains? Pick your poison. I picked neither. Survivor. Scarred and swinging. America's revenge tales end in sunsets or shootouts. Mine? Open road. Rear view fading with the ghosts. Cabin life was supposed to be rebirth. Douglas firs clawing at the sky. Salish sea crashing distant like unresolved therapy sessions. No Wi-Fi to drag me back to the scroll of doom. But isolation's a liar. Echoes follow. Derek's laugh in the wind. The cyclist's ghost pedaling phantom bikes down deer paths. Peyton Reyes. Ixali. Now wood-chopping recluse in flannel from the thrift in Port Angeles. I split logs with an axe that felt more honest than code. Splinters biting like tiny truths. Mom drove up weekends in her '98 Corolla, trunk stuffed with gossip from Tacoma's beauty parlor. That Senator Graves? Singing like a canary, names dropping like confetti at a divorce party. Her visits anchored me. Those rituals of normalcy. Elk stew simmering on the propane stove. Her stories of Dad's ghost haunting her dreams, less now that I'd settled the score. But score? Half kept. Elena's exposé hit like a thunderclap. The intercepts, the consortium code, 10K words dismantling the web, graves to Russian oligarchs. AI laundered through NGOs. My leak starred. Anonymized as Source Phoenix. Phoenix, rising from ashes. Or burning it all. Comments sections ignited. Vigilante justice versus deep state witch hunt. Polarized as a Trump rally. Leaving me scrolling incognito on the library's ancient dell. Crack appeared month 9. Russo. That weasel. Unmasked in a sidebar. Not just auditor, hitman light. With a rap for accidents in Reno casinos. He'd tailed me once. Post-gala. Escalade idling outside the cabin like a bad omen. Voicemail crackled that night. You think it's over? Hail? Graves walks. Plea deal. Your turn next.
Click.
Heart jackhammered. I barricaded the door with the axe handle. Sleeping with a .38 under the pillow. Mom's gift. For bears. Or worse. Controversial decisions 6. Go rogue. Called Elena. Voice hushed over a burner from a payphone in Forks. Twilight tourists oblivious. Russo's circling. Need dirt. She hesitated. Static hissing like doubt. Peyton. Feds have it handled. Don't. But I hung up. Drove the winding 101 to Seattle under alias plates. Rain sheeting the windshield like tears held back too long. Back in Queen and our old house. Now mine via trust. Dust motes danced in sunbeams slanting through blinds I'd never fixed. Basement office. Derek's lair. Servers mothballed but humming faintly. Like a coma patient stirring. I fired it up. Fans whirring to life. Code scrolling green on black like Matrix envy. Buried files. Not just finances. But vids grainy. Time-stamped to that hit-and-run night. Dashcam I'd forgotten. Mounted for safety demos. There, I-5 blur. Taillights red as stop signs. The cyclist swerving into frame. Impact, thud muffled by rain. Body tumbling like discarded fast food. Derek slurred fuck, then me. Scrambling out. Hands on the kid's chest. Futile CPR under sodium lamps. No audio. But my face, horror-etched, screamed the secret. I'd confessed to cops anonymously weeks later. Tip line whisper about a silver Audi. Plate partial. But buried it when Derek begged. For us. Why resurface? Leverage. Russo's trail led to a meet, abandoned warehouse in Soto. Freight trains moaning like blues harmonics. I arrived early. .38 tucked in my waistband, cold metal kissing skin like an unwanted lover, hood up against the drizzle. He slunk in, paunch straining his member's only jacket, breath fogging like fear.
Hale. Knew you'd bite.
Cut the noir.
Beak.
Grave steel, my name stays out. He chuckled, yellow teeth flashing. Or what? You gonna code me to death? I pulled the drive. Vids queued on my phone. Or this hit CNN. Your accidents. That dealer in 18? The hooker in 22? All you. Bluff, half true. Elena's digs, but his eyes darted, sweat beading despite the chill. Negotiate?
Nah.
Controversial decision 7. Pull the trigger. Not fatal, knee shot. Him crumpling like wet cardboard, howling into the night. Sirens wailed distant. I zip-tied him to a pallet jack. Left the drive on his chest like a scarlet letter. Tell Graves. Phoenix rises. Fled into the fog. Pulse thundering. Tasting copper, blood?
Bile?
America's dark heart beats in moments like these, where justice wears a ski mask. Aftermath. Russo flipped harder. Graves' plea cratered. Senators sang operatically. Consortium's full rod exposed. Trials stacking like cordwood. Elena's follow-up. Justice 2.0, me mythologized as the shadow coder. But victory's hollow. I dreamed of the cyclist, his face morphing to Derek's. Accusing, you chose wrong. Woke sweating. Cabin walls closing like a coffin. Mom sensed it during Thanksgiving, turkey from a can. Her famous cranberry relished the star. You're running again.
Pay. Overpris à la mode.
I spilled, the shot, the ghost. She didn't flinch. Just refilled my mug with decaf. Vengeance is the Lord's, but mercy's ours. Forgive yourself, or it'll eat you. Wise words. But forgiveness tastes like ash when you've swapped souls. Winter hit hard, snow blanketing the Olympics like a shroud. I hiked alone, boots crunching crust, pondering the debatable end. Was I avenged? Or architect of more graves? Elena called, book deal. Her voice electric. Your story. Peyton. The real one. Tempted.
But nah.
Stories end. Life's a loop. Betrayals recycling like Seattle's rain. Spring thawed secrets. A letter. Postmarked DC. No return. Phoenix, thank you. The kid's family settled.
G. Graves? Nah.
Too proud. Like me now. I burned it in the wood stove. Flames dancing like absolution. Maybe happy. Maybe tragic, readers argue.
Me?
I chop another log. Axe singing sharp. Summer scorched the Pacific Northwest unusual-like. Heat waves rippling off blacktop like bad karma. Turning my cabin into a sweat lodge of regrets. I traded axe for keyboard. Freelancing ethical hacks for startups in Portland. Day rates fat enough for solar panels and a hybrid Subaru. Nights staring at stars through the skylight. Wondering if Derek's consciousness fragmented into the ether or just
Poofed.
Science said upload's a myth.
Consciousness non transferable.
But I felt him sometimes. A chill down the spine. Like he'd hacked my soul's firewall. Elena's book dropped in July. Glitch. The Woman Who Broke the Code. Bestseller bait. My Phoenix, a cipher winking from the margins. Launch party invite pinged my encrypted inbox. Rooftop bar in Belltown. skyline glittering like fool's gold. I almost ghosted, but curiosity's a itch, scratched it with a sundress from Goodwill. Hair blown straight for the first time since the swap. Feeling exposed as a debutante at a dive bar. Crowd was media darlings, podcasters with man buns, journos nursing IPAs, Elena holding court in emerald silk, her laugh cutting through like a headline. She spotted me, eyes lighting like she'd won the Pulitzers twice. You came, hug fierce, perfume of jasmine and jet lag. Over gin and tonics. She spilled, deals 6 figures. Movie rights pending, Scorsese sniffing. I winced. Keep me out, but she leaned in. Conspiratorial. Too late. You're the hook, the wife who body-swapped revenge. Controversy 2.0. Leaks from the set. Rumors of neural thriller with a starlet as me. Oscar bait monologues on betrayal. Twitter, X now. Whatever, exploded, Glitchgate. Feminists crowing female fury, conservatives decrying Hollywood's woke hit job. I lurked anonymous. Heart twisting at fan art. Me as cyber samurai. Derek a pixelated demon. Flattering? Or erasure? My pain commodified like Derek's fraud? Then. The knock, literal. On the cabin door, at midnight. August humidity clinging like guilt. Feds. 2 suits crisp as fresh indictments. Agent Torres. Latina with a stare like laser-guided missiles. And her partner. Bland white bread named Klein. Mrs. Reyes? We need to talk consortium remnants. Coffee brewed black as suspicion. They laid maps on my kitchen table, rough-hewn pine scarred from too many late-night journals. Remnants? A splinter cell. Holed in Vancouver, BC. Peddling swap tech on the dark web. Your husband's prototype, it's out there. Test subjects. Unstable. Unstable. Word hung like smoke. They showed files, grainy vids of swaps gone wrong, bodies convulsing in motel rooms, minds fracturing into multiples. One victim, a whistleblower from our old R&D. Now catatonic in a psych ward off I-5, muttering code. My code. You built the failsafe, Torres said. Not accusation, but fact. Help us shut it down? Controversial decision 8. Agree. But on my terms, no badges. Just shadows. Road trip north. Subaru hugging the curve of the strait. Fairy horns lowing like mournful sax. Vancouver's a mirror to Seattle. Rainforest chic masking grit. Our drop, a hacker den in Gastown. Neon flickering off cobblestones. I posed as buyer. Torres wired in a van blocks away. Klein fidgeting with comms. The dealer, twitchy kid named Jax. Dreads and a septum ring. Demoing the rig in a loft smelling of weed and solder. Full transfer. Reversible-ish. $50K crypto. I feigned interest. Fingers itching for the .38 in my ankle holster, mom's just in case upgraded. Demo subject, a junkie volunteer. Eyes vacant as he strapped in. Needles kissing veins.
Upolat why that?
Screen glitching, his face on mine for a blink. Terror raw. Then snap back. Him seizing. Foam flecking lips. Jax shrugged. Side effects. Ewan. Controversial decision 9. Improvise. Drew, the .38. Torres bursting through like a sweat-wet dream. Jax bolted, parkour over crates, but I tripped him. Knee in his back. Zip ties biting. For the catatonic, I hissed. His yelp echoing. Feds hauled the rig. But not before I palmed a chip, backup code. My failsafe evolved. Back home. I torched it in the fire pit, sparks ascending like freed souls. Was it mercy? Or hoarding power? Derek's echo purring approval? Fall brought harvest, literal. Apples from the feral tree behind the cabin. Pies cooling on the sill while Mom FaceTimed recipes laced with "find a nice man." Pay life's too short. Nice men? Post Derek. Dating apps felt like minefields. Bio screaming startup guy seeks alpha female. Swipes left on red flags. Tried one. A barista poet in Olympia with tattoos of quantum equations. Cute. Till he grilled on the swap scandal.
Ghosted.
Trust's a luxury good. Rationed post-betrayal. But Elena persisted. One interview. Podcast, yours truly hosting. Caved over wine at her loft in Capitol Hill. City lights winking below, like conspirators. Mike hot. Her questions gentle scalpels. What was it like? Wearing his skin. I faltered. Voice cracking American raw, Pacific Northwest drawl. Vowels wide as the sound. Like drowning in someone else's ambition. Every mirror a lie. Every handshake a theft. Listeners ate it. Downloads spiked. Fan mail flooding. Letters from women swapped not by tech, but abuse. Husbands stealing years via gaslight. Climax redux. Jacks flipped. Consortium splinter traced to a finale. Auction in a private jet at Boeing Field. Elite bidders masked like Phantom of the Opera rejects. I infiltrated solo, Torres grounded by brass. Too hot, in a rented tux that pinched like regret. Chip in my pocket as Trojan horse. Hangar hummed, Gulf streams gleaming. Air thick with cologne and cabal whispers. The prize? Enhanced swap rig. Immortality for the 1%. Bid war erupted, me fronting as ghost bidder. Crypto tumbling like dice. One at 2 mil. Derek's offshore slush. Laundered clean. As techies wheeled it out, I slotted the chip. Failsafe cascade. Rig frying in sparks and screams. Bidders bolted. I slipped into the night. Sirens choral in the distance. Controversial decision 10. No feds. No glory, just ashes. Phoenix. Indeed. Burn it all. Back at the cabin. Dawn breaking pink over the strait. I poured bourbon neat. Maker's mark. Derek's vice. Toasting the ghosts. To ends. Debatable? Always. But in America's tense tapestry, sometimes you weave your own knot. Autumn leaves turned the Olympics into a bonfire of what-ifs. Trails crunching underfoot as I hiked higher, chasing clarity in the thin air. The auction bust made headlines. Mystery hacker foils elite swap scheme. But fingers pointed nowhere. My shadow danced perfect. Elena crowed over brunch in Port Townsend. Oysters salty as vindication. Your legend.
Pay.
Legend or liability. Mail piled. Threats from splinter holdouts. Marriage proposals from conspiracy kinksters. I forwarded the ugly to Torres. Burned the rest. Mom's health dipped, flu morphing to pneumonia. Her bungalow too drafty for Tacoma winters. I brought her to the cabin, transforming the loft into a sick room, hospital bed airlifted in, her Bible on the nightstand next to oxygen tanks hissing like impatient serpents. Nursing her flipped the script the caregiver now, spooning broth laced with her stories. Your dad was a charmer too, she'd rasp. Eyes glassy. Ran when it got real. Don't you run. Peyton. I didn't stayed. Reading psalms aloud. Her hand frail in mine. Controversy crested with the movie trailer. Glitch, starring that ingenue with cheekbones like switchblades. Teaser dropping Derek's line twisted. In his skin. I found my spine. Billboards loomed over I-5. My face approximated. sparking protests, tech workers picketing Hail Tech as husk. Signs scrawling, swap the system. I watched from afar. Gut churning. Profiteering on pain? But royalties trickled. Earmarked for the foundation. Now global. Auditing AI in Nairobi slums. Derek's echo? Vanished. Or buried deep. Until the lab leak. Exhale Tech whistleblower. The catatonic one. Woke spouting secrets. Presser in a Vancouver clinic. Tube snaking his arms. Hale's wife, Peyton, she knew. Built the kill switch.
New?
I'd buried. Not built. Media frenzy. CNN panels debating complicit or captive? Elena defended. Hero's arc. But trolls unearthed the hit-and-run tip. Linking dots to my pre-swap silence. Twist reversed. Subpoena. Federal courthouse in Seattle. Marble halls echoing like Judgment Day. Torres testified. Reyes neutralized threats. But the prosecutor, shark in a skirt suit, hammered. Vigilantism. Misses. Reyes? Shots fired. Evidence tampered. Jury pool, blue-collar mix. Eyes skeptical, hung on every word. Mom watched from home, her cough rattling the line. Tell the truth. Baby. All of it. I did. Stand raw as a open mic night. The swap. The shot.
The ghosts.
Betrayal broke me. Revenge rebuilt. Was it right? Ask the families I funded. The algorithms I neutered. Gasps rippled. Judge banged gavel on the trial. Public sympathy tilting scales. Acquitted?
Nah.
Plea to misdemeanor. Community service. Ironic, lecturing ethics at UW. My alma mater. Undergrads wide-eyed over IPAs in the quad. Post-trial haze. Book my own. Echoes in the upload. Memoir. Not manifesto. Words flowing like catharsis on the page. Publisher swooped. Advance covering mom's hospice wing. End stage now. Her smile's thinner than rice paper. Last days. We talked legacies. You avenged us all.
Pay.
Even him. Derek? Forgiven in her grace. If not mine. Ending landed soft. December, snow muffling the world. Mom slipped away New Year's Eve. Fireworks blooming over the sound like defiant stars. I scattered ashes on the trailhead, wind carrying her north to Dad's ghosts. Foundation thrived. AI for good. Global chapters. Elena co-hosted the launch. Our hug sisterly amid champagne toasts. Debatable close, happy. With scars? Tragic. Victory Pyrrhic? Readers pick America loves its arguments. From barstools to ballots.
Me?
I hike on. Axe traded for pen. Body mine again. Revenge? A season. Not the story. The real plot twists in Living After.